I just got back from my screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day, and I can officially confirm that Sadie Sink is playing the MCU's Shathra. Just kidding, she's playing Jean Grey. Hey everyone, Colton here, and man, oh man, Spider-Man Brand New Day, phenomenal movie. Can't get over how beautiful it looked from a cinematography and color perspective. This one, more than ever, really rested on the shoulders of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, by far the best Spider-Man film of his run, and I'd say this is probably the best live-action Spider-Man movie since Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Now, I'm going to do a non-spoiler review of the film, as well as a spoiler discussion, talk about the ending, the post-credit scene, so I'll save my detailed thoughts on the movie overall for those videos. But in this one, we are talking Sadie Sink, we are talking Jean Grey. So Sadie Sink, she is the woman herself, Marvel Girl, also known, of course, as Jean Grey. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on this casting, how she did in the film, what I think this means for the future of the X-Men in the MCU, and why introducing the character of Jean Grey right here, right now, before Doomsday and Secret Wars, and in a Spider-Man movie was just brilliant. And we're going to talk about where I think we will see her next. So it's been rumored for months now, maybe even a year, that Sadie Sink would be playing Jean Grey in the MCU, specifically in the next Spider-Man movie, as well as in Avengers Secret Wars, according to, I want to say it was Deadline, maybe Variety, that reported that. Now, at first, I was a skeptic, not because I didn't think that she would be a great choice for Jean Grey. My only hesitation to believing the rumors, however, was that it just felt like everyone was only theorizing that, oh, she has to be playing Jean Grey because she has red hair, as if hair dye doesn't exist. I don't think they're going to pick an actor based on what color their hair is. I mean, sure, it doesn't hurt that Sadie Sink is a natural redhead, but the main reason she was chosen is because she's such a great actor and really becoming a bit of a household name with Stranger Things. Now, we had some fun and speculated on her maybe playing Rachel Summers, the daughter of Scott Summers, and Jean Grey, specifically the Fox X-Men versions, and that maybe Jean was pulled into the MCU by the Peter Parker Spider-Man spell and wasn't able to be sent back because her mind can't be affected by a spell. We had fun speculating that she could be the multiversal mind-controlling Spider-Man villain, Shathra, the Wasp Queen. But of course, she is now confirmed to be playing Jean Grey. Now, why did they feel the need to hide that fact? I don't know. I guess because they thought it'd be like a fun, speculative thing to get people talking about the movie and theorizing on who she could be, have some mystery there. Maybe they didn't want like to overshadow the film with new X-Men casting and wanted to let the focus be Spider-Man. I'm not really sure, but I will say this. Jean Grey, who is essentially serving as the villain of this Spider-Man movie, that was not on my bingo card. Jean Grey being the villain of the next Spider-Man movie was not something that I would have predicted, maybe even like a year or two ago. Now, of course, the real villain of the film is not Jean Grey, and spoiler warning, if you don't want to know any like spoilers about the movie itself and what happens in the plot, you just wanted to know that she's playing Jean, click off now. But she's not the real villain. I don't think that comes as a shock because she is, of course, going to be a member of the X-Men, one of the leading heroes of the mutant saga. The real villain of the film is William Metzger, damage control, and how they control super people and how that's going to play into them wanting to control mutants. And I just want to say, I called it big time that the hand was working for DODC. Throw enough shit against the wall, you're bound to hit something. Anyway, this movie, it established big time for a very wide audience because, let's face it, everyone is going to see Spider-Man, and I think that's one of the key reasons they decided to introduce her here. This movie established the premise for the upcoming mutant saga. It introduced the whole concept of controlling mutants and wanting to use their power or even steal their power, or them being persecuted for their power, being labeled dangerous. It establishes the mutant phobia, even in a mutant's own parents, where there's a scene where we hear Jean, she's sitting on a bench talking to her sister who also has mind control powers, and their mom, we learn, abandoned them. And this movie introduces mutant inhibitor chips, which will have been created by Bruce Banner and Peter Parker, or at least based on their work. And it will definitely come back into play in the mutant saga post-Secret Wars with mutant inhibitor collars. Now, I think that Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, I think she's about to be like one of the new faces of the MCU. She is the X-Man, I think, moving forward. I'm not even so sure that the first X-Men MCU movie, I don't know that it'll feature characters like Professor X or Magneto. Maybe at the very end, but I don't think that they have like a primary role in that movie. I think we could see Jean looking for other people like herself, looking for other mutants. And then we can see the X-Men, before they're the X-Men, begin to form. And then when they do introduce Professor X and Magneto, that can mean that since they're older than the kids, at least, that will mean that their versions of these specific characters, the MCU versions of the characters, they will have lived in the shadows for a long time in regards to their powers, I would think. We do have the Secret Wars reboot coming up that could rewrite history a little bit and maybe kind of establish that, yeah, mutants have kind of always been known about, but we've kept it on the DL, which is really the case for mutants in the Fox X-Men timeline. It wasn't until like the year 2000 where they actually started, like, the public became aware of mutants in a broad sense. And, you know, we see Jean and she's giving that speech, and we've got, I believe it was Senator Kelly, who is very anti-mutant. And, you know, back to the MCU X-Men film and Sadie Sink, Jean Grey, I think it's really possible that instead of leaning on Xavier, Magneto, Wolverine, I think the MCU X-Men film, whatever it is, and this mutant saga overall, especially the first phase of the new saga, I think it is going to lean really hard on Jean Grey. I think that they see Sadie Sink as a leading woman that can help carry this franchise forward. Her portrayal of Jean Grey in this movie, it's fantastic. I loved it. She is a phenomenal actress, and she has shown that she can play the villain in this movie, as well as the hero. And, you know, she's a complicated character, Jean Grey, and this will all set the stage for her, hopefully several years down the line, to perhaps, you know, take another crack at the Phoenix Saga. Maybe. I don't know. They've done it twice now, right? And it's never panned out well. There are so many other, like, stories that they could tackle, so many great X-Men and mutant stories. So I'll take that back about, you know, them doing the Dark Phoenix Saga, at least not anytime soon. I hope they'll steer clear of it, at least for a while, and that maybe this villainous type role that she played for the bulk of Spider-Man Brand New Day, hopefully that will be the end of that, and the rest of her run as the character, at least for the next long while, will be as a hero. And then, I mean, hell, Sadie Sink's like, what, 24 years old? She could play this character for another 20 years if they wanted. More, maybe. So there's plenty of time to do a lot of great Jean Grey stories. And then later on, if they want to take another crack at Phoenix, they will have a hero who we will have been following for maybe like more than a decade, maybe 15 years, 20, I don't know, 20 years, that's kind of far out. But we can have a hero that we'll follow for a long time and has been like a leading character of this saga, and then have her become the very threat that brings together the X-Men, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, everyone into a fight against her. Does that sound familiar? All right, well, those are my thoughts on Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey. She gave a great performance in the film. I'm tired. I just drove back from seeing the movie. I'm tired. I'm going to go home. I love you guys. I will be putting out a non-spoiler review. I'm going to put out like a spoiler discussion. I want to talk about the post-credit scene of the film, so we'll be talking about that. And of course, we'll have a breakdown, Easter egg breakdown, ending explained, all that stuff on Screen Crush, so be sure to check us out over there as well. All right, I love you all. I've been Colton Ogburn. Bye!